Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to thank the three of you and all your teams for a couple of things. One is last November we received our first ever in U.S. history DOD audit. I'm not a bean counter. I don't think that's what we should be about, but I do think we need to look at being the most efficient we can be so our men and women get everything they need. I also want to thank you for the $30 billion of what looked like to me real savings, Mr. Secretary, and the team just in the last 2 years. So this is directionally very encouraging.
Billion, sir.
I'm sorry, billion, 30 billion. Let's put a B in front of that. Apologize. Thank you. I have two questions. Mr. Secretary, I'd love for you to talk to us. You made a quote 2 years ago now, or in December of 17, and I'm going to quote you if that's okay. I think you won't mind this. CRs have cost the Department of Navy, continuing resolutions, have cost the Department of Navy roughly $4 billion. Between 2011, since 2011, we put $4 billion in a trash can, put lighter fluid on it, and burned it. Do you still stand by that?
Most definitely, Senator.
So would you also acknowledge that $4 billion compared to the deployment at the border, $4 billion would have really materially impacted our readiness, would it not?
It would, Senator.
Sir, would you talk to us just a little bit about the specific impacts of continuing resolution? We've had in the last 45 years since the 74 Budget Act, we've had 187 continuing resolutions. In the last 10 years alone, 1/3 of our time has been basically under a CR. So I'm very concerned. We're halfway through our fiscal year right now. We're looking at September 30th this year. Would you talk to us about what momentum damage that would do to what we've done the last 2 years? And then I have one more question about maintenance, if we can get to it at the end.
I'll be very quick with this, Senator. The work that you all have done in both this chamber, across the way at the House, both in authorizations and appropriations of the last 3 years with the 17 RAA, the 18-19 budget, is absolutely spectacular. You've heard me say that it's the foundation of readiness, and we're building upon it. We are. A CR will knock us off our game. It'll be the most painful thing we've had, and what's more bizarre to me is that it would be self-induced.
Senator, if I could pile onto that
Yes,
just a little bit, I'll tell you, I completely agree with the Secretary. This would be like a punch in the gut. Just some specifics. It would looks like it would be almost $16 billion less than the budget request. Of course, it's not just the amount, but also the inability to start new things. And so there would be no start to the aircraft carrier refueling, the fast frigate program that we just discussed, the advanced helo training system, and a number of others. There'd be no quantity increases to the Virginia-class SSN, the carriers, the oilers, and many other programs. And so the list goes on. That we would not be able to assess the people that we need to fill gaps at sea, and so it would be devastating.
General Neller, you have a helicopter I also believe is due for delivery this year that would be delayed until at least one full year. Is that correct?
As the CNO and the Secretary said, Senator, I mean, everything is impacted. You know, we come up with a program and a plan based on what an anticipated budget number is going to be. And although it would be better than the BCA number, it still would have impact and cause us to have to go back, and it would stall our progress on readiness and modernization.
Thank you. Admiral, supply chain, other people have talked about it. You guys have talked about it repeatedly here. After sequestration years and by cutting the military by 25%, the supply chain is totally devastated. I've seen that. I've lived in the supply chain most of my career, and I've seen that just in the last week. I visited, you guys were gracious enough to let me visit the Truman yesterday. I want to thank you for that. But one of the things I'm concerned about is that procurement now, you do have some flexibility over a multi-year facet. I think it's 3 years. Under maintenance, though, if you don't spend money in 1 year, it doesn't roll to the next. It basically has to be reappropriated. Would you be comfortable, or do you see value in a pilot program to test providing multi-year flexibility in ship and depot maintenance appropriations?
Sir, thanks for that question, and thanks for coming out to Truman yesterday. It was an honor to have you on board. Sir, absolutely is the answer to your question. A pilot program, I think, would be terrific because it would match the funding window to really the job at hand. And so this would give us flexibility throughout the before, during, and after a maintenance. Before we could get the supply chain, the material purchase, the planning done, all of that in order and in place. During, as adjustments always occur, it would give us more flexibility to move funds from one project to another. And then after, it would allow us to recoup funds that we didn't spend efficiencies and apply them to other projects. So across the board, that type of flexibility would be very helpful, and I'd be happy to participate in a pilot program of that type.
Thank you, sir.
It only makes business sense, Senator. It would be a great pilot to try.
Well, that would be a shame to try something common sense that might help you guys, wouldn't it? In closing, Mr. General Miller, I just want to thank you. 44 years is a long time to be doing anything, and America is better off because you were on the wall. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator.